With the dawn of a new year in 2025, the first Descendant has officially been released for 6 months. 6 months can feel like a long time, but in the case of live service games, some of which have had 10-year, even 20-plus year lifespans, 6 months can be considered enough time for the game to merely still just be within its infancy stage. In live service games, it can take months, sometimes even years, for impactful updates to hit the games, to improve the quality of life or gameplay experience for dedicated players to those games. In the case of the first Descendant, 6 months has been enough time for the game to receive a massive facelift in numerous parts of its quality of life, gameplay experience, and general feel of the game. Today I want to share a timeline with you of all of the improvements and changes that have been made in the first Descendant in that 6 months from its original state. Whether you're a player who hasn't played since original launch, a player who continued to play through preseason to Season 1, if you played through Season 1 or even Season 1 mid-season update. No matter when you started playing the game, I'm here today to tell you why you should play the first Descendant in 2025. First, let's cover some of the basics, and let's go over customization. Customization is a very appealing part of this game, no doubt to many of players who play it. And there have been plenty of updates and overhauls to the customization system that have helped improve players' freedom to do as they please with skins. For example, head skins. Now not only can you apply paints to head skins, but you can also dye hair for all of your Descendants' head skins. In addition to that, you can now apply base Descendant skins even to their ultimate forms if you like the original state they looked at. And default base and ultimate Descendant skins can now have paints and hair dyes applied to them. So if you want to use the base skins or apply paints to them, you now no longer need to own a premium skin of any sort to be able to paint and customize the coloration of your Descendants. Base weapons have also been given the ability to be painted just the same way that base Descendant skins have had the opportunity to be painted as well. So whether you have a skin or not for a gun, you can freely express yourself with colors on the weapons, as well as on any skins that may come to guns that uniquely change the physical attributes of the weapon itself. Just to quickly cover the emotes section of the menu. Now, this doesn't directly apply to emotes in general, but in addition to emotes, we have also received essentially little hotkeys or quick actions to be able to do things out of your emote menu. For example, if I'm out in the field and I start a mission but then realize I do not want to do that mission, or I'm using some sort of farming method that involves aborting mission, you can now bring this up here, abort the mission, and leave just like that without having to open the menu. Now let's say I abort the mission and I also want to head back to Albion. Well, I can also quickly do that from here without even having to open the map at all. There are numerous other shortcuts you can apply as well. For example, if you would like to quickly hop to the social tab, you can apply that here to be able to more quickly invite friends. If you want to quickly get to the access info to search up where to find something in the game, you can apply that, as well as a plethora of other things. The battle pass, shop, journal, your consumables, basically anything that has a menu has a shortcut that you can personally apply and customize here as you please. One other quick thing I'd like to mention about the consumables in the game. XP gains used to be applied on collection. They now go into your inventory and can be managed at your own manual moderation and applied when you please. So now you can collect them from your mail. You no longer have to keep them stacked in there, and you can pop and use them whenever you'd like. You can still go up here to see your applied XP gains and for how long they're active. One side note, XP gains are based on real time, not in-game time, so if you do get off the game, the timers continue to roll on these. Moving on from cosmetics, there are a plethora of quality of life updates as well as improvements that have been made to the research tabs, as well as some other menus that have to do with build crafting and resource management. For example, inside of crafting, you can now have up to 7 things crafting or ready at once, as opposed to the previous 5. You can create target items, which will give you a quick tab to see what your current focus is on as to what you are currently trying to hunt down, so you can quickly get to those settings inside of the research menu when you do finally get those items to be able to craft. In addition to that, the weapons tab now shows you how many copies of a gun you have crafted via showing you the unique ability enhancement level of the weapons in here, so you know if you have fully crafted and finished off that gun or not. You can also now jump directly to the location something can be farmed from for a particular item you're looking for in your research simply by clicking on the item, selecting the research material you're looking for, going to the research info, and if you check out the acquisition info for the blueprint, you can see all the available locations for that. And if you do click on that detailed list and click on the mission itself, it will jump exactly to where that mission is, so there's no running around looking through the map trying to find where something is. It will ping you directly to where you need to go and give you the opportunity to start it from there. One other improvement they made a little longer back to the research menu is the fact that you can now select entire quantities to start crafting at a single given time of materials that you are often crafting high stacks of. So you can choose how much you would like to start crafting all at once based on your available materials at the time. Moving from research over to modules, Cillian has undergone a very, very noteworthy quality of life improvement to his UI and menuing. So when it comes to combining modules, in the past you had to go through and select manually 4 mods that you wanted to combine, and that was that. Now you can view duplicate modules only, and there is an option down below to auto select. Not to mention, if you hold that button, you can select all, and as you can see down below here, you can combine more than one set of modules at a time. The results are as follows when you do so. If you combine a large amount of modules that give a large amount back, you can get all of them to pop all at one time, making the combining modules experience much more efficient, a lot quicker, and preventing you from having to spend 5 to 10 minutes here at the end of a session dismantling all your excess modules. In addition to the quality of life UI improvements that module combining received, a handful of modules got overhauled in which locations they are available to be farmed from. Many Transcendent mods got added into Infiltration Operations in addition to their once exclusive boss reward drops. Modules that were notoriously exclusive to just combining, for example, shot focus, is now available in more than just combining modules. There are many sources of this mod being available, down to as simple as completing a single mission for it to drop. The other modules to note specifically are the Enzo mods, which previously only came from ultra precision vaults requiring breakers, now available via combining modules. When it comes to crystallization catalysts and Descendant and weapon crafting, you can now put multiple module socket slots on the same spot. If I want to change out, say, an M mod that is getting the module socket type matching bonus here for a different one that matches these other socket types here, I could change this from an M to an X or an R and still gain the benefits of it. Now, it does take an individual catalyst every time you add a new socket, but once you put them down, they are permanently there, and you can swap between whatever module socket types you please whenever you like. Moving on from quality of life UI changes, let's start to get into things that help ease the pain of the grind and the RNG elements that are plentiful throughout this game. Alongside the newly available 5-level enhancements to reactors, reactors now have the ability to implant other reactors into them. What this means is that you can take the optimization conditions of reactors and implant them onto other ones for mounting purposes, which give that extra 60% skill power boost that you definitely don't want to be missing out on. So for example here, my Toxic Mechanics reactor here rolled with submachine gun weapon group mounting, which also, quick note, ultimate level reactors now go based on weapon groups, no longer specific ultimate weapons. So they generalize this, so the farm for those is a lot less tedious, way less groups of RNG to have to worry about. And this implant system completely bypasses the sheer necessity to even get weapon group mountings on your god rolls anyways, as with the mounting system here, you can add up to 3 total mounting groups to a reactor. The only one that is static and locked in is the original one it rolls with, but as long as you have any other reactor with different weapon group mounting, you can implant those onto your reactor of choice. Therefore, the only true RNG involved in reactor farming now is involved in getting the bottom 2 stats that you're looking for, making the grind for those god roll reactors a lot more plausible, a lot less stressful, and much less painful. The reactor farming zones has also been much simplified, as since weapon groups have been generalized and the new implant reactor system is in the game, there is now always one zone that constantly has every available reactor combination accessible in the game. So there are no more weekly rotations to worry about to wait for to be able to go farm the reactor you would like. There is still a weekly rotation, but there are certain reactors that have a chance to shift into better zones for farming, and it gives you double zone options for particular ones on certain given weeks. For example, this week, Toxic Dimension is available in 2 unique locations. It is also worth quickly noting that processors, memories, sensors, and auxiliary powers also all have a guaranteed location available every week. Now, you may have seen this little guy following me around here or in the menus as the video has gone on, and this is the newly added Fellow, which came with the launch of Season 2 to the first Descendant. The Fellow serves as an item auto pickup as well as an item auto dismantle system for you as you actively play and farm the game. It also comes along with a module drop rate increase modifier and a fellow item detection range, which gives you an increased radius at which it will auto loot items for you while you're actively playing. The dog can be leveled up to increase the module drop rate as well as the detection range, and is freely farmable from the new activity added with Season 2, which we will get into a little bit later. The bulk dismantling system, also known as the junk filter in the game, has also had a facelift since the game's launch. With this system, you can hyper customize into very specific roles on specific reactors and components, and even just general weapons that you want to include or exclude as junk. The reactor system works as follows. I want to keep any gold reactors that are of level 100. All my enhanced reactors are automatically excluded from the junk here. And below, this is where you can really specialize. So if you're focus farming a particular reactor and you want specific roles for a Descendant, say I want cooldown and range for a mobbing setup, I can set every other detailed option in here to dismantle except for these 2. So only reactors that roll with these stats on there will not get marked for junk when I auto mark junk, and everything else that does not include one if I pick this, or both of these skills if I pick this, will automatically be dismantled. So you do not have to waste time looking through all the reactors you farm to see which ones are good and which ones are not. This system lets you bypass that and pick if you want to get at least one of the stats you're looking for or both, and it will automatically get rid of every single other one that doesn't match your custom settings. You can turn the custom settings off at any given time if you're not looking for anything particular or just don't want to use it at any particular moment. This will prevent it from dismantling all ultimates that are level 100, so you can manually look through them if you'd like, all with the click of a single button. The same system is added to external components as well for farming there and all of the stats on those. So this system, combined with the new auto looting and auto dismantling system built into the Fellow, as you can imagine, is a match made in heaven. One of the last, but definitely not least, quality of life improvements that has been made in the first Descendant since base launch is the target reward list. Now, the target reward list by name may not exactly make sense, but essentially the target reward list serves as a bad luck protection system in the game for what you may be farming. For example, the amorphous pattern here that I was farming comes from a defense mission. Well, in the defense missions, it's only a 25% chance to get this amorphous material. So if I have this as my target reward, every time I don't get that amorphous as the drop, it increases the percent on this progress bar down here. And when that reaches 100, it gives me a guaranteed drop of this amorphous pattern. This can also be directly applied to certain blueprints for things such as the new Fellow as well as new Descendant Keelan. I can set target reward and I will get a percent progress bar here as well. So as I run the Void Vessel and open the reward chest at the end, every time we don't receive the enhanced cell blueprint, the percentage goes up towards 100%, which will give us a 100% guaranteed drop on the spot when we reach that amount. Unfortunately, the target reward system does not, at least yet, work on standard materials inside of the regular amorphous material patterns. But in addition to normal shape stabilizers which increase the odds, we now also have access to advanced shape stabilizers, which, as you can see here when we apply this, changes the low percent odds from 6 and 10 to 32 each, and the 32s go down to 10 and 6. So this gives you opportunities to hit those rare items at very, very high odds. Next, let's talk about the bosses, the Colossi, the Intercept Battles. The Intercept Battles have had a lot of hardships and pain points when it comes to there being some intercept battles which are doable solo as well as publicly with a group if you would prefer to queue for them. But sometimes there were certain bosses which included exclusive only public queuing, and a lot of people didn't like that as they either had issues with teammates they got or just wanted to do it solo by themselves, because the more players you have, the more a boss scales. Well, now a majority of the bosses have been tweaked and changes in ways to make them all either soloable or queuable for public groupings. For example, Hanged Man in normal is now soloable. Previously, you had to have at least 3 participants to be able to take on Hanged Man. This has also spread to the hard mode bosses, not quite in its entirety yet, but as of the recording of this video, the very next update coming to the game is going to update the remainder of the bosses in hard mode, as far as I know, to be soloable outside of, I believe, the highest level boss, which is Deathstalker. But for example, Obstructor here still requires 3 participants. Obstructor very soon will be soloable as well. Frostwalker will become soloable, whereas right now it's 4 minimum participants. But to prove that some of the hard mode bosses have been changed, Molten Fortress is already soloable, as is Gluttony. Beyond that, with the addition and beginning of Season 2, which started in December, a new tier of Void Intercept battle entered the fray, known as the Abyss difficulty, bringing us the highest tier of strength and power to an intercept boss, which feels like it's going to be a new category where all of the new end game bosses will be to truly test the limits of your builds. Once again, this boss is soloable or can be queued for publicly. Infiltrations also received a facelift from the original launch of the game with the addition of the Season 1 invasions, which are on a daily rotation cycle throughout the game. These invasions add unique objectives and mechanics into the specific infiltrations in which they take place and offer unique rewards, as well as a very healthy amount of gold on a daily basis. Up to 5 million gold from 4 quick missions to run is a very welcome thing to have in the game. Later on in Season 1, 400% infiltration operations were also added, which rotate on par with the invasions on a daily basis and highlight 2 specific infiltration ops that have a high end game tier variant of mission available. These 400% infiltration operations remove all objectives from said infiltrations and instead give you slaying objectives of up to sometimes 300 enemies all in one room. It's a great place to test out mobbing builds as well as have a ton of fun slaying a lot of Vulgus. The reward system was also overhauled with guaranteed XP and weapon XP amounts that are the exact same shared values, which are rewarded upon completion of the infiltrations. So in addition to all of the experience you gain via killing enemies throughout the mission, when you complete it, you also get a flat base boosted amount of XP, which helps level very, very quickly. Outposts have had their cooldowns reduced further yet again. Originally at base launch, the cooldown was 5 minutes for Outposts, later reduced to 1 minute, and now only a 30-second cooldown timer on Outposts. So the Outpost farming experience has been improved drastically, as well as the void fragments required to do reactor bosses that the Outpost amorphous materials are tied to now go 1-to-1 with the zone that they are in. If I want to farm the Abyssal Void Fusion Reactor in Echo Swamp, it requires 45 inorganic shards. Where can I find 45 inorganic shards? On the Void Fragment right next to it. Amorphous materials that were previously only farmable inside of Outposts have now been added to Infiltration Operations. So for those of you who did not enjoy the Outpost loop, you can now indulge in Infiltration Operations to receive these items as well. Special Operations also more recently received a facelift later into Season 1 as well as potentially somewhat into Season 2. They have been overhauled, in some cases entirely based on their objectives. Defense missions have been turned to 10 waves instead of 21 waves that are limited to how long the waves last. The minimum amount of time a defense mission would take in the base game was about 55 minutes. Nowadays can be completed in 10 to 15 minutes. The reward structure has also been overhauled by changing some of the available loot rewards, as well as improving some things like stabilizers being much more common drops, as well as the deeper you go into the waves, the more loot you have the opportunity to receive. For example, Wave 2 and Wave 4 give you a single drop of the potential reward you receive. At Wave 6, it increases to being a multiple of 2 of whatever you happen to get drop. And as you push into Wave 8 and 10, you can get 3 of or up to even 5 of a single item from 1 drop within these defense missions. A couple of hard mode special operations were also added to the game. These were asked for very early on and hoped for, as the special operations were getting dismantled pretty quickly early on by some of the more powerful builds, namely the early days of the Rampage bunnies ran on and such. But there are now hard mode variations which have chances to give you guaranteed code breakers, which were a farming pain point back in the day, guaranteed fine adjustment controls, new quantum incubators, which are involved in the new reactor leveling system going beyond level 2 up to level 5, as well as still a chance for some pretty hefty amounts of gold. These also follow the same reward structure as when you go deeper to Wave 6, 8, and 10, you have the opportunity to get multiple drops at once of whatever you happen to get. One other quick thing of note, they specifically added weapon XP gains upon reaching every 2 waves of completion within Special Ops, adding this as another very solid alternative option for weapon leveling. Ever since the launch of Season 2, there have been a couple of things that have been confirmed to us. First of all, Season 1 content does not cycle out at the end of Season 1. The invasions, as I previously mentioned, are still available in the game to do on a daily rotation basis. So as of now, there are yet to be any signs of any potential FOMO content in the game, which is a very positive sign, as well as a noticeable improvement to the content. has been seen with what we now have as the Season 2 activity known as the Void Vessel. The Void Vessel is a wholly unique, brand new location never before played or discovered in the game that was completely fresh to us as Descendants, as opposed to the invasions which took place in Infiltrations we were already familiar with. So the Void Vessel is a huge improvement over the base activity we received as the seasonal source of new loot and farm locations, which just shows how much improvement has come in a single season from the devs themselves. The Void Vessel comes with a normal and a hard mode, as well as private and public queuing, so there are no more shenanigans where the seasonal content is too hard off the rip like invasions, where they are now available to be done solo or with a public group. No matter what you prefer, you can now play the game how you want, whether you want to go at it lone wolf or have some other people to assist you along the way. And the new reward structure for this, as compared to what we got for Haley, is definitely an improvement, as well as to how you farm the new contents. Beyond the activities that were added with Season 1 and 2, there are now officially 3 unique Descendant quests available in the game. The original base Bunny quest line that was added on launch has been complemented with a Freyna quest line that was added via Season 1, still available to be done and played by players who may jump into the game brand new as of Season 2, as well as Season 2 bringing us an exclusive Sharon quest line. So if you're into the lore of the characters and the storylines and stuff, there are now up to 3 unique quest lines for you to experience on these characters and get a deeper look into their pasts. Inversion reinforcement is a system introduced alongside Season 1, which works as a set of seasonal bonuses you have access to for the duration of the given season in which they come out in. You earn experience to level it up, and it can unlock a wide array of abilities, of which to 3 you can equip at any given time, as well as have up to 5 passive buffs that can be active all at once on your Descendant for deeper build crafting potential. ETA 0, added in the second update to Season 1, serves as our form of duplicate recycling. Inside ETA 0, you can turn in all of your excess blueprints of things that you already own in exchange for vouchers. Each of these items has a value based on the rarity of the blueprint or item that you have excess of. After you turn in the vouchers, you can exchange these supplies in turn for things such as Descendant slots, equipment slots, the newly added advanced shape stabilizers, precision code breakers, a range of other blueprints and things for weapons, as well as catalysts, occasionally energy activators as well. One of the more unexpected thing ETA 0 also brought along is the ability for free-to-play players to earn and obtain paints, hair dyes, and other premium goods, as well as in the Infiltration Operation rewards, which are vouchers you can earn from running the 400% Infiltration Operations, also has its own set of loot that you can earn from the vouchers as well. Once again, more equipment slots, which previously were only able to be purchased in-game with Caliber. Even more advanced shape stabilizers, regular stabilizers, an energy activator blueprint, a range of other Descendant and weapon blueprints that you may need, as well as even more paints down here that you can get for absolutely free just simply by grinding the game. More recently, ETA 0 has also had a new Intercept Battle reward category added as well. These quality certified ETA vouchers are earned from doing Abyss level Colossus battles, which also are a new feature of Season 2. And upon completion of the boss, you'll get a certain amount of these to drop, which you can then save up to buy exclusive unique skins which represent the respective bosses of the Abyss Void difficulty. These skins are available for every Descendant in the game, and you can pick specifically which character you'd like it for. There are also little backpack souvenirs you could optionally collect as well if you're not too into the skins. And with all of that being said, I believe this covers a majority of the most important updates, changes, improvements, and enhancements that have come to the first Descendant in just a mere 6 months. This game is far from what it was at base launch. The devs time and time again put out updates that have only overall been positives for the game, the gameplay loops, the systems, the grind. After just 6 months, the sheer dedication that they have showed to improving all aspects of the game has been second to none, and I just cannot believe that in a year like 2025, when it comes to gaming, we have developers that are as dedicated and are as open to listening to the community as these devs are for the first Descendant. There's a number of other things I didn't even mention. There are numerous Descendants, ultimate weapons, modules, other things that got reworks, buffs, changes, and there's still plenty more coming in the pipeline. I think that shows a sign of willingness to not leave old content behind to get buried beneath new content that comes out that is newer and better, but making sure that all aspects and all characters and parts of the game are fun for whoever wishes to enjoy them in that way. If you have spent any time thinking about trying the first Descendant or having played the first Descendant in the past, you may be surprised if you hop back into the game today and try it out. Long story short, from a player who's put in over 1,000 hours to the game is in the best state it's ever been in, and the trajectory only seems to be upward from here. Beyond all of that, a brand new Season 2 update just dropped, bringing a whole range of brand new things that we'll have to talk about again in a future video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Comment down below how much you have played the first Descendant, whether you tried it at launch, if you haven't tried it yet, if you hopped in Season 1, Season 2. Let me know when you started and if you're still playing, and if you're considering trying it out again. Be sure to subscribe for more videos coming on the first Descendant in the future. Until then, I wish you guys the best of luck in your grinds, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.